I think I'm quite ready for another adventure.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
For those of you who are regular viewers of this channel, you might be a little confused. This is still me, hi, it's Montu, your favourite British space lizard, but we are going to be looking at the ultimate in planetary invasion ground combat simulators, slightly better than what we get in Stellaris. There are no circles, I'm afraid, today. We're going to be playing Hearts of Iron 4 No Step Back. It's the holidays, let's do something crazy. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be playing a new game, and I'm going to be looking at Hearts of Iron 4 from the perspective of a Stellaris player. Alright, so this is first crazy change here. We are way into the deep past, 1936, 264 years before we would normally be playing. And let's jump into our Empire creation screen. Well, I must admit, the options do seem somewhat more limited than Stellaris. I'm unable to do anything other than select a country. I mean, that makes sense though. It is World War II. Who would want to have anything like a country editor like they have in Europa Universalis 4? No. We only want to play as the real countries. I think we should probably go with Germany today. I mean, we are a totalitarian regime. I hope that gives us some extra edicts, or whatever the equivalent is. We've got a bunch of bonuses that I don't really know. These don't seem to do anything anymore. Very confusing. Let's go with Germany. Let's have a look. Interesting to see that we do start the game with factions. I hope they give us political power or influence or whatever the equivalent is today. Next election, never. Totalitarian regime. Yep, that all sounds good from a Stellaris player's point of view. I wonder what our primary species is. Whole bunch of custom game rules here. They mean very little to me at the moment still, but we'll be fine. Historical AI focus, definitely going to turn that bad boy on. I'd like today to have the countries doing something resembling whatever that is they're meant to be doing. Without any further ado, let's dive into 1936 and play Hearts of Iron 4.
Wait a minute, what?
Away we go!
Alright, here we are. We have stuff. Let's just grab everything up first of all. And we'll just throw it into an army, just so we can kind of see what we've got. Okay, they're all kind of there. We should probably do something with them. Technology, that's important. It definitely is in Stellaris. What do we have going on? Well, I remember in Stellaris, the first thing I'd usually go for is increased research speed. That can't be far from the truth here. Let's go for electronic mechanical engineering. I think industry is going to be important too. Construction, that all sounds good. Oh, atomic research. Ooh, time ahead penalties. Yes, that's a thing, isn't it? The game decides when we should do stuff. I remember that now. Whoa, this looks very different. What is this? Basic armor protection, improved armor protection, advanced armor protection. 1940 heavy. What? There's no turrets. Why are there engines? That's right. So we have civilian factories. They make consumer goods. Consumer goods. We probably want to minimize those or minimize our output. Where is the market? Can we buy consumer goods? Here is the market. I don't see consumer goods available. This is different. Very different. Totally understand what's going on though. Don't worry. This is all going to be fine. If you're enjoying this video, please industrialize that like button. Civilian factories. So I've just checked the wiki. I'd forgotten, but basically what we actually do with these is we use them to build other factories. Oh, and there's railway tracks now. Oh, that's nice. Oh, and we've got trains going. That train's about as long as that's totally emergent braking paradox. You ruined the game. No, it's great. Okay, so consumer goods. We've got 23 available for construction. Let's start by building civilian factories. That's probably a good idea. Or what about infrastructure? Railways. Okay. Okay. I have honestly no idea what this UI is telling me. I think that the railways are different levels, but up to 10 I would assume, a bit like supply used to be, but But I'm clicking and I haven't figured out yet how to build more railways. Ah, you click and drag. Oh, of course. Let's just start with civilian factories. Can't go wrong with that. I do need to choose a national focus now. There's a whole bunch of them available. And I totally know what I'm doing here, everybody. So, opposing Hitler, I mean, that does sound good. However, instead of doing that, why don't we just remilitarize the Rhineland instead? I mean, we just need it. Yeah, this tiny red zone here on what is quite a large planet, quite a regular sized planet, that tiny red zone is massively important to us, and we must have it back. So, I do need more rubber. Let's trade with Brazil. I'm sure they won't be our enemies. We are the peaceful nation of the German Reich, after all. And I'll pay attention to our navy when we really need it. Crikey, that took a while. Initial setup for Hearts of Iron 4 is a lot longer than Stellaris. We're going now. Things are happening. You know what? We've just gone a day in. I've just realized I should probably do something with these soldiers, maybe train them or something like that. Could be useful. This is a new tab. Officer Corps. All right. Aha, the unexpected thrust.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Well, I want Blitz, but I haven't quite figured out how to get there yet. Never fear, I will get there eventually. The problem is we haven't got enough telephones. If we had more telephones, we could have stuff. For instance, Erwin Rommel could lead our brave troops. For now, I think I'll just station some soldiers on the Polish border. And let's make sure the Austrians know we mean business as well. The Danish border as well must be manned. We cannot trust those interlopers. Alright, so now we've got all of our Air Force and all of our Navy exercising. That's going to help us with air experience, sea experience, and we've also got some army stuff doing stuff. Only issue is, we're now running out of fuel. That's a slight oversight. We'll figure that out later, though. We've got 150 days to deal with this impending fuel crisis. It's like 5 months. Not a problem. Not a single problem. Now, I've gone through all of these tabs, and there are quite a few of them that kind of sum up our nation or our empire. And I'm yet to find the species rights tab. That's seemingly missing. It's a key core component in Stellaris. I mean, what if I want to set a species to a different citizenship type? Well, there is residents and undesirables, and from an economic perspective, slavery. That's very important in Stellaris, yet it seems to be totally missing here. I'm very confused where that is. Alright, so now we're trading fuel with America and Venezuela. I'm sure that won't be a problem. And we've staved off our fuel crisis for at least another year, kicked it into the long grass. We are having a slight issue with supply. Things are going red, and that should be a problem. I will figure this out. Reveal your secrets! 2 great things have happened. The first is I solved the supply problem by moving our troops away from the front. It was a genius piece of logistical... Oh no. Right, so now we can get a new political advisor. We can spend some of that juicy political power we've got our hands on. Silent Workhorse gives us plus 15%. Looking at our base output of 2, that means we're going to be getting 0.3 political power per day from Martin Bormann. That means that in only 500 days, Martin Bormann will have paid for himself, and after that we'll be getting a bunch of extra political power. Given we're a good 3 years away from war, that seems like a great deal. This is great. I mean, I wish that envoys in Stellaris had actual traits and actual faces, and we could actually do something with them. Staging a coup sounds pretty cool. I'm going to go with Wilhelm Müller. Now he's here, we should build an intel network. I hear London's great this time of year. This ability to, I mean, the traits here for the generals and admirals is absolutely awesome. Yeah, this would be great in Stellaris. So basically, as you go up, you can pick, or you spend telephones, and when you spend enough telephones, you get new stuff. So we've got Martin Bormann, who can get Lone Wolf or Concealment Expert. And then we've got Karl Dönitz, who can... He can become a Lancer. Torpedo screen penetration sounds pretty good. Let's go for that. And I did solve my supply issues. Ignore this space. Everything's fine other than that. I built a little railway there, and I moved all the offending units away. I remember treaty with the USSR being very important to get an early panzer technology. There, let's push for that today. It seems the Polish are going to be standing up to us. Not that we would attack them anyway. I mean, we are peaceful Germany. But they're very aggressively standing at our borders. And the Czechoslovakians as well. They are kind of manning most of the borders. We've got a few troops there, possibly need some more. And now that we've stopped doing so much training, our fuel crisis is completely averted. Glory and praise to the great leader at... Nope, can't say that on the video. Alright, we're going with industry. I'm going with improved machine tools. We're going to create an industrial utopia, the likes of which the world has never seen before. The war in nationalist Spain has just fired off. I think it's time we send our panzer divisions. Now this is wild. My leader Erwin Rommel has not turned up instantly when he was assigned to some units somewhere else in the universe. As a Stellaris player, I'm deeply confused. Do Hearts of Iron not know that leaders have the right to instantly teleport anywhere they want at any time? So I had to do a bit of rearrangement in Spain. We are still attacking, and now our division's doing fine. Before I had them stacked up together, and I was running out of supply at a dangerously fast rate. That was apparently bad. Supply is a bad thing to run out of. It reduces your attack and breakthrough. Now, this is definitely very different to Stellaris. Okay, so what we've got is these division templates, which is what our troops are made up of. I've got 2 panzer divisions. And this is a little bit like the ship designer, I suppose, in Stellaris. Possibly a little bit like a fleet designer. We get a whole bunch of stats. Not going to bother diving into that. Way too much depth going on here. I understand some of them. Others, just, yes, interesting. We can fit armies together in groups of up to 24 divisions to actually do things. We can design our ships, and to some extent as well, we can design our airplanes. Though the airplane design does seem a lot more rudimentary than the other two. Usually in Stellaris, civilian factories pretty crap, wouldn't be going with them, but I'm really pushing ahead with them. I just did the Hermann Göring Werke, and now I'm going for the KDF Wagen. And apparently there's even more going on in Spain. We've got another faction joining now. Anarchist Uprising. This is, looking like the Catalans are throwing their hat in the ring too. Now, this level of kind of civil war and civil disturbance is not something you get in Stellaris at all. It would be absolutely awesome if we could have some internal politics like this. I do understand this is all pre-scripted, and it's a lot easier to pre-script things when it's not all generic like Stellaris, but absolutely wow. I beeline down to this extra research slot because if Hearts of Iron 4 is anything like Stellaris, this extra research slot is where it is at. This is the point where I prove I have once played the game before. I'm going to be designing some new division templates, and we're going to go with a 7-2 infantry division. And we're also going to spin up a 14-4 infantry division as well, because we can. We're almost at 1938. I think we're just about done with civilian factory construction. We've got 72 of the things. That seems like a number. I may have gone a little overboard here queuing up railways, but I feel supply is going to be the main hindrance to any sort of defensive effort that we need to muster. And of course, as Germany, you can see simply from the map here that we're sandwiched between many hostile foreign powers. Denmark, Lithuania, the Kingdom of Hungary. You know, we have to be able to defend ourselves on every front. Okay, so it's 1938, and we've researched the 1940 medium. That sounds a little bonkers to me, but I'm just going to roll with it. And here's where lots of the decisions come in. So, we can go with a medium fixed superstructure, a one-man turret. I know that's bad. I've seen videos on actual tanks, and having only one person shooting the turret and having your head in the turret is, well, it's very difficult to keep track of who you're trying to shoot at if you're having to reload as well. 3-man turret, which reduces max speed a little. I've also noticed that it does come with quite a lot more breakthrough, which is our defensive statistic. So I've designed a tank. Here it is. This is going to be the Panzer IV, apparently, from now on. What's funky about this? Well, I mean, it's 8 kilometers an hour, which is, I would think, relatively slow. Most of the things I design can usually travel between star systems in a few minutes in game time, or a few days in game time even. But we've got high armor. I think that's good. Hardness, 85%, sounds pretty good as well. The fuel usage is okay. I try to keep this at about 100%. It seems relatively useful. I'm not sure if this is a fantastic tank. But it's a good first go, I think. Production cost is a little high. It's 21.4, but I'm sure it'll be fine. If you're enjoying this video and you'd like to see how this Hearts of Iron campaign concludes, please leave a comment below. If there is interest, I may do more Hearts of Iron videos in the future. And we've just completed the fate of Czechoslovakia, which, interesting, very interesting thing that is. And basically through my own deft political maneuvering, without firing a single shot, I've gained a whole bunch of territory. Now, this is just completely unheard of. I'm finding it difficult to fathom why, with all my time in Stellaris, I've not been able to complete the same kind of procedure. Maybe I'm just not so great at the game. When I was first looking at this game, I thought it was going to be about designing tanks. I thought, no step back, we're going to be doing lots and lots of tank design. Instead, a lot of what I've ended up doing is managing my railway networks, which is great, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't quite what was advertised when I first started playing this expansion. Now I've come across quite a unique problem, but definitely an interesting one, but very unique to Hearts of Iron. So I've got a better technology here. I have got better artillery, level 2, which is bigger boom maybe, I'm not quite sure, but my current production is all into level 1 artillery. So if I want the bigger one, I can either change over and then I'll lose all of this production efficiency, I guess, because they have to retool the factories. Definitely something you don't get in Stellaris, very cool. But I think what I'll do is I'll keep building the old one, and instead I'll also build the new one. And again, I'm having supply issues. I'm not even at war yet. I've only got 1 troop down here, but we are getting 46% supply delivered. That's bad. Okay, time for a little bit more railway management. And it looks like I am really quite good at this politics thing. Moscow, the Russians, the Reds, the great enemy, have just signed a non-aggression pact with us. 10 out of 10 for my abilities here, apparently. Alright, so I've just realised that if I toggle this little button here, my railways become completely irrelevant because we can drive little cars to everybody. And luckily, I've been building up quite a big stack of my trucks. I've apparently got 4,000 excess units of trucks at the moment. So let's just do that. A nation wants to join our faction. Well, tension goes up. Something about staging coups, we can't do it. I mean, I'm gonna say no at this point. They cannot. And I suppose it is probably time to finally demand Danzig from our neighbours. It's almost the time for war.
Prepare for battle!
I have not been able to solve the supply issue down here at all. I've increased the trains, I just don't get it. Is it outside of range of this? Maybe? Alright, I'm gonna say right now, this is pretty impenetrable to me. I'm sure it's probably not as complicated as I think it is, but I'm clearly missing something obvious when I've got one man here, one army division inside my territory with a well-established railway network, and we simply cannot get him anything to eat. We've got our war plan set up. It's all been slightly complicated to work out. Some of the user interfaces are a little opaque, and some of the clicks are a little difficult, but we're all ready to go now. So, without any further ado, we are going to reclaim whichever country it was, whichever Danzig I believe was the issue. And then we'll lose MIFO bills. That's kind of bad, but also good. Let's go for it. And we also need to deploy all forces. And it looks like Poland decided not to defend Danzig right at the start, so that's fallen already. Yeah, let's just keep going. We seem to have accidentally engaged the British fleet. Yes, that could be a problem. Wow, we lost an entire strike force there. Oops. Otherwise, the war does seem to be going rather well. I've created a few pockets, of Polish resistance, but yeah, I mean, zooming ahead. And there we go. Poland has fallen. Looks like we win the war. So it looks like I may have spoken ever so slightly too soon there. It turns out that we have to kill both the United Kingdom and France before we win this little war against Poland. Of course. Unfortunately, our trains are apparently being bombed. Would be a problem, except luckily I've thrown lots and lots of factories into trains, so I've got a big surplus of trains right now. And now we're trying to form up on the Western Front. I haven't even got all my troops here yet, but I'm already running into some massive supply issues, which are going to get worse and worse. And apparently we do have to give back part of the land we took. So yes, I suppose we'll do that. Alright, so we've mostly got green air over our nation, which, goodness me, we're losing a lot of trucks every few days. Wow, okay. Should probably do something about that. I'm not sure we'll be able to last very long. I guess the next part of the plan is to go around the Maginot Line and attempt to take France. But I keep having to move my air support around. I've only got so many fighters, and the Allies keep just changing where they're going to bomb me from, which is deeply annoying. I do have a lot of soldiers as well. I really can't bring them up to the front. This logistics thing, I'm already getting slightly crippled here just with a few extra divisions. Yeah, and I'm having to use quite a lot of trucks too, just to provide enough support. But we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Everything's going to be fine.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
And I've just looked at my construction queue, and all I seem to be doing is constantly repairing railways as I wait for this war goal or conquer focus to come online. And let's just charge. We seem to be making very quick inroads. Goodness me. And now I just need to get ready. One more push through Belgium, and I can probably storm into France here. And if I remember, if I just take Paris, I think that the French will capitulate. I'm not calling them cowards, but I've just heard other people say that. I'm not saying that. It's not me saying that. And I'm also at this point going to invite the Italians to my faction. That should take a little bit of pressure off of me and put it onto them. So we are pushing forward, not quite as fast as last time it seems. Maybe if I just micro it a little bit differently. Paris did just fall though. Possibly that's enough to knock France out of the war. Yes, yeah, I believe so. Another victory for the fatherland, fantastic. Vichy France or German conquest? I think we'll go with Vichy France for now. We've smashed our way through a lot of Western and Eastern Europe. I mean, from here I don't see anything that could possibly go wrong.